Ladies and gentlemen, hard to kill. Luis Espindola, Redefine Violence. How we doing, bro?
Good, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. So talk to me, man. Redefine Violence. Where'd that come about?
It came about, man, in 2020. I was stuck in Cabo on a contract and just, I was out there for about 7 months and I was just racking my brain, man, like trying to figure out, what to do, an exit plan from contracting. Then I started seeing all this stuff in the news and people going crazy. And it got me thinking about the flip side of that, of the controlled chaos aspect versus the uncontrolled chaos aspect. And then I just started looking around, man, looking around and the guys like us, we talk about bows, we talk about shooting, we talk about jujitsu and fighting. And if you're not involved in something like that, it's just, it's weird, it's kind of off. So I put it all together and just came up with the idea of the wolf in sheep's clothing. So instead of evil that's hidden amongst good, which is the traditional story of the wolf in sheep's clothing, we tell it as capable, hidden amongst the oblivious. So it's one of those things where, like, once you've seen violence, once you and I have experienced the things that we've been through, you can't give that back. There's nothing that you can do. You can't pray hard enough. You can't wish hard enough. You'll never be able to give that back. So that's where, kind of the permanent change comes from. And then we realized, man, this is a lot more than just Mill and LEO. This is everybody. There are people out there that have experienced some terrible shit. Oh, wait, can we cuss? Some terrible
Absolutely.
stuff. And yeah, so then we opened it up, and now it's an inclusive thing for everybody.
I love it. I love it. So you're a deep thinker, my friend. I like that.
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass.
Once you open the box, man, you can't close it back up.
I know, man. This is why I stay away from drugs.
Okay. So jujitsu plays a big role in this, I see.
Yeah, jiu-jitsu plays a big role. It's something that I got into, I'll say, years back, and it's one of those off and on things for me. And just getting crushed, and just learning that no matter how shitty of a position you're in, you can always reset and keep going.
That to me right there is real warrior mindset.
Yeah.
You don't win them all, and it's not pretty. You know what I'm saying? And it takes getting your fucking dick smashed in the dirt over and over and over, and being able to pick yourself back up after getting smashed in the face. That's the real tough guy right there. Is operating when shit ain't that good, when
Right.
you don't see an opening or a win, if you
Right.
will. It's being able to stay violent,
Right.
stay effective while everything's failing around. And I see that a little bit in what you got going on, and it's badass. I'm happy
Yeah,
for you.
man.
I'm glad to see you. Glad to see you guys doing well.
Yeah, it's I started taking the company serious about, I'll say, about a year and a half ago. And what I mean by that is just, trips going back and forth. And then finally I'm just like, okay, let's get this going and let's see what we can do. And it's rolling, man. I can't complain.
So, are you getting a? Tell me how you feel about the veteran community, man. Are you getting a good feedback from it? I mean, is the demographic that you thought would be your demographic who's making shit move? Or tell me, because I have a weird view on that. But go ahead. Let me tell me what you think.
Let me answer the second part of that first. No, who I thought would be our demographic
Yep.
um, didn't end up being. Now, what I mean by that is, as a veteran and stuff, that's kind of my community. But then I realized so many more people were willing to support, and so many more people were willing to um, share their story, right? Even if they aren't veterans or they haven't, exposed themselves to that kind of stuff. There's so much stuff that people go through, and then they use these violent arts to help themselves. Now, on the veteran side, I at the beginning, I was like, man, I'm not gonna tell guys at work about this. I want this to be like kind of get going before I bring it in my mouth, or before I let it slip, because then it turns into, oh, you're just another t-shirt guy. And it's toxic as fuck. It's super toxic. And that's probably myself, some insecurities that I had to work on and shit that I should have gotten over a lot earlier, because now that it's rolling, now people are hopping on the train,
Yeah,
you
of
know?
course.
Yeah. And now people are like, oh, it's pretty good. But at the beginning, yeah, you get those comments and you get those looks and you get those eye rolls, and it just it just makes you want to like huddle up and turtle up and like, fuck these guys. But if
Funny
you
how
can
that
get,
happens.
yeah, and like I said, from as a vulnerable statement, it's like, fuck, man, like maybe this is done. But if you get past that, and if you can just keep fucking moving like a turtle, even in your shell, just moving along,
Yep.
eventually you get to like this open space and it all opens up. So I love my veteran community. Don't get me wrong, but we are some of the most toxic motherfuckers.
Dude, thank you for saying that because I don't know what it is, man. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the boys, but
Mm.
there's something about veterans in the comment section that's all, and you don't see, you see it, the negative comments, you don't see the likes that you think you get from your brothers. You know what I mean? It's like, where does that come from, man? Like, is it just that I am tougher than you, and I deployed to a more kinetic AO than you? Is just the one upping that I don't understand, because I've always had the mindset no matter what, dude, I want to see my boys succeed. I want to be happy for you. That's just where I come from. And it's weird.
Yeah,
You don't really see it that much on the veteran side of things, man.
yeah, and then I learned to surround myself with the right people. Then I surrounded myself with vets that, man, just came out of kind of nowhere too, and it's vets that are trying to build their own thing as well that come to your side.
Good point.
We
Good
did
point.
a shootout in Vegas with some dudes out there, and it was like it blew my mind. Everybody has their own company, whether it's small or big or whatever, and it was indescribable, man. It was just, hey, what the fuck can we all do to share all of our stuff
That's
to
dope.
get?
That's dope.
So that's cool. And I hope that the guys that are naysayers find something that they're passionate about, so that they can realize that's what it's about, and it's not about
I think
shitting
I
on
think you hit the nail on the head right there, man. I think it's the guys that maybe are having a rough time right now, that that don't have anything going for them. So inertly, they're a little bit jealous, you know what I'm saying, or a little bit, upset at where they are, so they portray it, that way. Because honestly, like all the entrepreneurs, all the guys like us, you that have something going, dude, like, I mean, those are the ones that are positive because they see the struggle, they've been through it, you know what I mean? So I hear you there completely.
Yeah, for sure. And it's no longer, excuse me, this is going to sound fucked up, but they're no longer hanging on to what they used to be. They're trying to become something a little bit different and a little bit more,
Facts.
and use what we've been through as a platform versus as a shirt that you can't take off. You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So just from talking to you this amount of time, I can tell self-reflection and self-realization has been a part of your journey, man. I'm
Yeah.
going through it right now. I mean, it's a process. Talk to me about it, man. How's it been for you since you got out?
Uh, at first, so I got out in 2013. Went from 3 5-year division schools, and then yeah, the first couple months were rough. I'm from California. That's where I'm originally from. Ended up on the unemployment line like everyone
Oh,
else.
right there with you. I got out in 13 too.
Yeah. So and then I ended up in Texas because one of the guys that we lost, his name's Lance Corporal Colton Rusk. We lost him in Sangin in 2010, and I came out here for a memorial. And,
R.I.P.
yeah, and then man, I met so many amazing people here in Texas. I learned, like I said, about the oil field and what was going on. So I went back to LA for a little bit. Was in the process for LAPD, taking forever, or LAXPD. I can't remember which one. And yeah, I just made that phone call. I was like, "Hey, you guys mind if I come work for a little while?" And been here ever since, man.
Oh,
So
so you work in the oil field?
I did for a little while. Yeah, leaving after leaving the mill.
Gotcha.
That's why I ended up in Texas, was to work in the oil
Okay.
field.
Gotcha.
And
Gotcha. Gotcha.
yeah, man, that's how it was. And then for me, it was all about making money. When I got out to make money. I got out for the wrong reasons. I got out to chase an oil refinery job in LA, and then I realized that it was goddamn lottery winnings to get into the oil refinery in LA. So when I got here, I was obsessed with money, man. I had to make $100,000 a year. I
Yep.
just, I don't know why. And then I did it, and it was cool. And I was like, okay, that didn't get me to what I thought I wanted. So, anyways, to answer your question, man, yeah, it's been a journey of, well, what's actually going to make me happy? What's actually going to bring some more and more joy to my life? And Yeah, it's then I had, some wild ideas along the way. So then I went contracting overseas and doing some projects out there. And then this year I ran for Congress. So fucking yeah, just I'm like
Okay.
that. That magic 8 ball, like you whisper, like, what's Lewis gonna do next?
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
he
yeah.
like, oh fuck, run for Congress. Cool, let's do that.
Dude, I love to hear that honestly, because I'm a big advocate of getting vets involved in politics more. I'm sick of seeing the decision makers in this country are people that have no idea, frame or reference about the things that they're, voting on or putting out there. And I really think it would be a game changer if some of the more alpha male, strong moraled uh, individuals that I know are
Yeah.
great, that were great leaders in the military, get involved with politics. We need leaders. Period. There's just there's a lack of it significantly right now, and we can see it, man. I mean, look at the shit show that's going on right now. And if you're a Democrat, if you're a Republican, it doesn't even fucking matter.
No,
Looking
it
at
does.
this absolute, what I don't even know what you want to call it. If I was a young kid, I'd be nervous. I'd be worried about, or just even if I was debating bringing a kid into this world, I'd be like,
Yeah.
what? You know what I'm saying? Like, just looking at how the leadership even talks about significant things. It's like, is this like a game to you? Are you even taking this seriously? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the more I started to pay attention to it, the more I realized that everything's cherry picked, and you know this as well as I do. And it's not just with the information that's given to us, it's what these politicians want to tackle. And on the trail, people would come up to me and bring up an issue like, well, I brought it up to the congressman, but it's an election year, so they don't want to deal with it. So it was, I don't want to say disheartening to learn a lot of the shit that I learned, but it's eye-opening for sure. And to realize that it's a machine.
Yeah.
It's a machine, and if you're not picked, and if you're not the one that, or if you don't have a lot of money, that was my
Yeah.
downfall for sure. I
Seriously.
was
Yeah.
I was,
I,
working abroad in October, came home, and then in November I filed my candidacy, and I didn't really have a plan. And I know that it's probably the wrong way to do it, but there was something inside of me, and I told my wife, I said, I can't let another election cycle go by without fucking trying. And yeah, so that's
I
through my
mean,
hat.
I know this is a hard question, but do you think there is a way to fix the absolute, I mean, swamp that we have that we call politics right now? Because it doesn't take a genius to see that it's on another level of corruption, no matter where you point at. It's exactly how you said, it's cherry picked. Uh, but I mean, every time we see like a someone that we think is solid, they get to office and they don't do anything. The men with black suits come and say, "Hey, this is what you're gonna do."
Yeah,
You know
hey,
what I
this
mean?
was, and that was my experiment, really. I in my mind, obviously you visualize the win, you visualize what it looks like, you visualize what you would do. The premise of my campaign was term limits. Is how, and I'm not naive enough to think that I could fucking pass, another amendment to have actual term limits. But I wanted to show the American people, or at least start with a district in Texas, that it's possible for a human being to hold on to power for a short amount of time, do whatever they can with it, and then relinquish it and let it go and pass it on. So what I wanted to do was create a system to where, instead of incumbents fighting with people that are trying to make it into office, instead you create sort of a turnover system like we had in the Marine Corps. Every 2 years, the BC hands the guide on to someone else. This is what I did with these men. You do better. You do more. So I wanted to bring that mindset to politics.
Start an idea and watch it grow, kind of. Yeah,
Start
I
an
like
idea.
that.
Yeah, everyone wants to be the Prince Charming in history. I wanted to be the lily pad. I wanted to be the person that
I like that.
someone else uses as a platform and perfects it and does
Makes
it
it
better.
better. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my idea behind politics. And everyone says, "Oh, well, congressman really it takes about 2 years to learn the job. Then it takes about another 2 years to learn how to grease the wheels. Then it takes another 2 years. Then you really get your stride." Okay, I can get that. But it's one of the only jobs in the world where you get paid $174,000 a year to not learn the fucking job within those 2 fucking years.
Facts. I hear you.
And And if it's so convoluted and so complicated that someone can't learn the job at least effectively within the first term or two, then there's a problem with the system.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So, and you've heard the term, that's the way it's always been done. You
Of
know,
course.
as
Of
I do,
course.
that's the killer of progress. If that's the way it's always been done, well, how the fuck do we do it different?
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Facts. Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah, that's my idea. I just didn't have the money to get the message out to enough people, but we did pretty good dollars per vote wise, and yeah, I'll take us another swing at it.
I'd
Maybe
love to hear that. I mean, it's the fact that you're even trying to do it, man. You know, like I mean, you're not sitting on your ass. You're actually getting involved, and that's more than a lot of people could say. You know what I mean? At least you're not just like the couch potato that judges everything and Monday morning quarterbacks how they would do it on a perfect day. You know what I
right.
mean? But I like to hear that, man. Okay, so talk to me about your military career a little bit. How was the Marines for you?
Oh, I loved it, man. Ever since I was a kid, I wanted to be a Marine. That was it. I was gonna do 20. Somewhere around 8 years old, somewhere around 7 or 8 years old. My parents would tell me like, "Yeah, you just started talking about the fucking Marine Corps." The influence was I had some uncles that were Marines. Typical Hispanic. There's always one
Yep.
Marine in a Hispanic family, and it was the uniform, it was the bravado, it was the strut. And then so was born in LA, lived in Louisiana for a while. My dad was underwater welder. We went back to LA right around 9, 10 years old, and I had another uncle, and I would go visit him in Pendleton, and it was just it became an obsession for me.
Got the nostalgia. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, it became an obsession for me, and yeah, something I knew I was gonna do is fucking '03 or go home. I knew it was
Okay.
gonna be infantryman. Ended up with some of the fucking coolest people in the world in 3-5, and yeah, it was great for me. I loved it.
What are some takeaways? When you look back at it all, you think you got from the Marines that you've applied to your day to day nowadays.
Well, if you ask my wife, it's cleaning the house and cleaning the house spotless, and telling her it needs to be a little bit better. But that's the indoctrinated side of me. The other side, I would say, it's the first thing you get taught when you walk into boot camp is to lean back and strut. Um, I haven't always been a confident person. I haven't always lived, or let me try to find a better way to say that. I haven't always actually been that kind of person where mentally I lean back and strut, but I know that I have to do it. I know that that's the way to get to the next level. That's the way to get past what I'm doing right now. So even if I'm faking it, I always revert back to that. It's like, okay, I have to walk with confidence until I fucking find it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until halfway through my campaign where I found some confidence. I was just talking to one of my business partners last night. I was like, man, there was a lot of times in the campaign where I should have stopped and campaigned, where I should have stopped in that neighborhood and I should have walked, but I had some self doubt and it creeped in and it nested a little bit. So I'm like, fuck, I'll drive by this neighborhood. I'll do the next one. And yeah, it's just like a constant battle with that shit. But I always like to revert to that. And that's what allows me to do crazy shit. I don't know how to start a business, man. I had no idea. I learned on
Fucking jump
YouTube.
in. Yep.
Yeah.
I hear you,
I learned
bro.
on YouTube. I'm learning along the way, but it's because of that mentality. And now when I walk into a room, whether it's a business meeting or whether we're pitching something or we're going to make equipment for a gym, I walk in with that attitude. Like I know what the fuck I'm doing, even though maybe I don't, you know?
It's the way to do it, bro.
Yeah.
Fake it till you make it, baby. Love it.
Yeah. Fake it till you make it. And
Yep.
then eventually it does come.
Okay. Well, I mean, what do you got it on 13 too, so I think we have similar mindsets. What do you think about the world today, man? I mean, engagements are popping off everywhere. I mean, we already uh, bombed on the administration a little bit. Clearly, who even knows who's behind the wheel on that one? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But
Somebody.
yeah, it's just odd to see, man. I don't even really know how I feel right now because I have this just feeling that we're weak, that we're especially weak on our side. Like our ducks aren't in a row to a certain degree. Our borders are being infiltrated. I just have just an uneasy feeling, and I don't know where it's going to end up, man. And I can't even imagine being in the military today with the leadership that they have. What's one thing that you could give for maybe a I don't know, some advice for maybe a young corporal right now, or maybe a young sergeant that sees, the leadership being however whatever adjective you want to put on it. You know what I'm saying? How can they stay motivated? How can they stay, vigilant? What would you recommend?
When I look back at my military career, I realized that I disengaged from some of my original
Same
reasons for
here.
joining.
Same here.
That's probably what I'd say. So I got a pawn tattooed on me, and it's above a king. And the reason for that is, and I got it right here, front and center. I can always look down at this. I never forget that ground level. And I'm not 100%. Well, I shouldn't say that. I am somewhat sure of what happens to leadership as they grow up in rank. It becomes a political position, and it
Always.
becomes how do they prosper versus how does
That's
everyone
hard. That's so
prosper?
true.
You know. So I would say to that corporal, to that sergeant, to that staff, hey man, don't forget about the pawn, and don't forget that mentality of that ground level mentality. There's a book which led to me running for Congress, which is Ego is the Enemy. And you can read that book, and it just kind of helps you harness yourself and look externally versus it having to be about what you think it should be about. I don't know if that makes sense, but
No, it does. Absolutely.
that's what I would say, man. For those guys, don't forget why you join. Fuck, I wish I was right there with you.
Right?
I really do. I wish that. It's one of my biggest fears is to see an engagement, which is kind of one of the reasons I keep one foot in the puddle
Oh,
with.
yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
I don't want to see my nation go to war without me. I really
Yep.
don't.
Same here.
That'd
Same
be a
here.
sad fucking day for me. I don't hope it doesn't happen because I don't want these. I would rather these dudes get out and never have experienced anything and wish and wonder and all this other shit than having to have them go mine sweep with a fucking Valen or drive a goddamn, you know what I mean, fucking Humvee or something or
Mine
MRAP or
roller through fucking waddies.
fucking
Yeah.
yeah, man. I don't want that for them. But I know that's what they're there for. I know
You,
they're
you
there
know
to
that's
get
what they
down.
want. You know what I mean?
I know that's what they
We've been
want.
there. We've been there, bro. I remember
I know.
being that young fucking savage, and everyone was telling me exactly what we're saying right now, and I'd be like, "Fuck you! I want to go over there and stormtroop that motherfucker." You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
it comes with maturity, man. It comes with age, and it comes from actually going and doing it and realizing it is not what the fuck you thought it was.
Yeah.
And I mean, years go by, and you change, man. Your opinion matures, and you start really seeing things for what they are. And if I were to, I know that myself back then would hate who I am right now, just because I didn't understand. I didn't get it. I went off what I was told more than what I researched and learned myself. And I don't know. Sometimes I don't know. I feel like I was very gullible at that age, or maybe it wasn't gullible. Maybe it was I just had a one-track mind and knew what I wanted to do, knew I wanted to get the fuck over there and just do my thing. Uh, but I don't know. How do you feel about that?
Yeah. Well, first, I think we got to be thankful that those young, crazy fucking kids exist that enlist in the
Facts.
Marine Corps and the Army and the fucking, SEALs or wherever the fuck they go do. So make yourself as deadly as possible for you guys. If you're that command leader, you're that unit, man, look for extra shit you can send. Look for instructors you can bring on site to
Yep.
train them and make them as lethal as fucking possible. And
Facts.
it shouldn't just be I don't know how it was for you in training, but I just remember it being a pain in the ass to get a range, to get a this, to get a that,
Facts.
to get all this other stuff. So if there's a way to streamline it, do it.
Yeah.
If you're that corporal, you got a few extra $100, man. Instead of going to Vegas,
Exactly.
go pistol,
Exactly.
go rifle.
Fuck going out to the bar, getting drunk. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Fucking sharpen the blade while you
sharpen.
can. While you're in it, sharpen that motherfucker. That's one thing I look back at and wish I did more, bro. I was constantly, doing the barracks bashes and fucking going out and fucking watching fucking You know,
Yeah.
very
Watch
yeah,
watching movies.
yeah. But I wish I could go back and maybe take that time to understand my enemy better, to
Yeah.
to
Understand.
understand their culture a little bit more, learn their language maybe. That's one thing over there, bro, that I learned probably halfway through my deployments or my latter ones, that I became so effective with, is when I actually learned their language more through my terp.
Right.
It was almost like they respected that. You know what I mean? Like they respected that I took the time to actually learn their language, and I got so much more out of, you know, being an Ashura, or going door to door and talking to people, bro. Like if you just talk to them a little bit in their native tongue, dude, you'd be surprised what you get out of it.
Yeah, and you see it something as simple in a movie too. Like you see that archetype that's cultured, and you're like, damn, that even as a dude, you're like, that's a sexy motherfucker. You know, he speaks different languages and shit. You know, that's fucking
Facts.
cool. So it's yeah, it's 100% what guys should be doing. So you take away the side of like, I hope you don't have to go to war, but I know you're going to. If it's not this generation, it's the next one. It's inevitable. So be fucking deadly. And for the leaders, you have enough GWAT dudes that are out. You have enough fucking SEALs with instructor
Facts.
schools. You have enough.
Learn.
You have enough people out there. Reach out to them. They
Yep.
will. I'm sure. I hope I'm speaking for them. They will waive their fee to come and fucking teach you guys. You know what I mean? Um, just to make you better and make you guys better, or pay for a range, and go. Don't be afraid to reach out to Hornady. Don't be afraid to reach out to other people like, hey, we need ammo. I'm taking my
Yep.
squad to the range out here in SoCal, you know? So set that kind of shit up. That would be that would, if I
Yeah.
had magic wand, that's what I would do. I'd go back in and be like, hey, let's be super fucking deadly, because the training's good, but it can always be better. And I hope that
Absolutely.
leaders realize that
Absolutely.
it's never going to be enough when your
Oh,
job is to go to fucking war,
yeah.
you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So
Okay. So back to redefine violence, man. 5 years. Where do you see it?
5 years, I see us owning a couple facilities, hopefully at least one, where you can come train jujitsu, do CQB, um, roll. I'm sorry, lift, archery, all the things that the
That's
company
badass.
encompasses. That's what my goal is right now. We're looking for places, we're looking for facilities, we're looking for investors and stuff like that, to where we can build that facility where someone can come and get trained on everything, and experience a little bit of everything. Because one of the big things with the banner is I say it's a unifying banner. I can go train jujitsu over here. I can go do archery over here. I can lift over here, but I want a centralized hub where we can do everything at once.
I love that.
And that's, yeah. So we trademarked the name. I trademarked it early on just because it started to get a lot of like eye rolls. It's something that demands an answer. Like when you see it on a
Yeah.
t-shirt, you're like, what the fuck is that?
Yep. You want to
Uh,
know.
you want to know.
Yep.
And I realized the power of those two words. So went ahead and trademarked it, did what we had to do. It's ours now. And now I want to take it a step further. Right now, man, we manufacture everything from boxing gloves, rash guards, canine collars. I mean, there's so many things on our website to where we offer for violent arts and violent disciplines. And I just want to keep it growing, man. Keep it growing. And our artwork is tattoo inspired.
I can
It's
tell. Looks dope.
yeah, yeah. If you have the word violence in there, and no offense to guys that do like death skulls and all kinds of shit, I've got to make it somewhat colorful and somewhat inviting, and balance out the word violence. You know what I mean, with the artwork. So that's the theory behind it. And every piece of art that we have has a story behind it. Maybe people take the time to read it, maybe they don't. But
It
but yeah,
means
man.
something. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's always
for sure.
better.
Yeah, for sure. And it's the people that take the time to figure out like, oh, that design means this. Like this one's eclipse. Like you can work in your darkest days. This is the original sun design,
Savage. Love
but
it.
we put a moon over it. Like even in the dark, even when the sun is covered, you're still this motherfucker, right? You're still that person.
That's
You're still
hard.
supposed to be able to operate. So it's called eclipse. But yeah, man, it's just little shit like that. And hopefully in 5 years, we're bigger than what we are. The biggest thing that I want to do, we're not the biggest platform. We're not the smallest platform. Early on, I would DM accounts. I would message accounts like, hey, man, let me send you a shirt for a share or a picture. And I'd get ghosted. So now, you asked me the other day, like, hey, tag it or can you share it? Fuck yes. Like
That means
Absolutely.
so much to someone coming up, dude. Like if you can be humble in that regard, dude, that just makes you already know. I don't even have to tell you.
Yeah, because I don't want to say I didn't have it. It took me a while to get it. There's this dude. I can't. He doesn't. He stays behind the shadow. This dude from Sunset Goons. He's like that too. He fucking just shares everybody. He's a big account. You know, he helps everybody out. And that's what I noticed with social media. It was like, oh no, I don't want you to get ahead of me. I don't
Yeah,
want.
yeah, there's so much of that, dude.
It's fucking. It's
It
crazy, man.
bothers me, dude. I never understood that, man. But I mean, people are different. You know what I'm saying? Like some people, it's just like the officer mindset with certain things, man. I
Yeah.
can go all day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So that's what I want to do is as we get bigger, tell like if you got a t-shirt company, you got an equipment company, man, you don't even have to follow. Just like tag us, let us know because the Instagram algorithm is stupid.
Yeah, I
We
know
don't
it is. Dude,
notice.
you can't, dude, I can't even post guns.
Oh,
If
really?
every single time I post, like if I wanted to post your picture, before I dropped the episode, if you were kitted up with a rifle, I get a, uh, it's like it says regulated goods, and it's like some kind of shadow ban or some shit, dude. It just started happening.
Uh,
And like, what? Like, you can literally, there's women with their fucking pussies and their tits out, and you
Yeah.
can't have a professional, gunman with a rifle? Like, are you serious?
Damn.
When you say the algorithm's messed up, dude, yeah, I don't know, man.
So actually, I'm curious your take. What's your take on this whole TikTok deal about it getting banned? You think it should be banned or not?
That's a tricky one, bro. Because no, I don't, but I understand why they. I don't know, dude. Because to me, you come from the same era as me, dude. Like you remember when there were no phones, there was no
Yeah.
internet. It was
Yeah.
different. It was. I don't know exactly what it was, but it was different, man. There was a different energy. Conversations actually happened. People were invested in one another, and I don't know. I feel like stuff like TikTok, Instagram, all those others are the mind killer. They're almost making humans a different type of thing. And not only that, dude. Like the things that influence. I'm starting to notice that it's all targeted at the younger generation because they're the next ones up, and they
Yep.
want to form them a certain way. And I hate saying they. Like who the fuck is they? Whoever is behind the curtain. Uh, and with TikTok and unfortunately be China. But I don't know. How do you feel about that?
So I like to look at not what a law is s- said that it's going to be used for. I like to look at what it can be used for in the future. And that's the whole thing with like red flag laws and stuff like
Yeah,
that. It's it seems like you're attacking a problem, but how many problems are you creating
exactly. Yeah,
with trying to solve this one problem? Now, when you get into the weeds a little bit of it, because like I said, I was in that mentality. It took a break from fucking politics for a little bit for my mind, but the data is stored here in Texas. You know, there's no like direct um,
well,
evidence of influence and stuff like that by China or by the CCP. I understand how they're trying to sell it, but it also makes me question what can it be? What can this law be used for, and what sort of press?
exactly. So if this goes through, what freedoms are going to be taken away from it? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and it doesn't even have to be something that's freedoms. It's just something like what are they going to try to go after next?
Yeah,
You
you're
know,
right.
and
You're
we're
right.
not taking anything away. We're trying to help you. We're
Perfectly
trying to
said.
help you. Yeah.
Be
So
wary of any politician saying, "We want to help you."
yeah, beware of any politician that thinks that they have the answer. And
Yeah,
without one thing that drives me crazy is I don't know why more of them, and maybe I'm speaking out of turn. There's 435 members of the House. Maybe a lot of them do this. Why aren't there mass fucking gatherings and conventions and town halls where you come back and you rent out, you know, the local, uh, what's it called, like basketball arena or something, and you try to get information, and you spend a whole day trying to gather what the people need, versus even some Republicans that were supposed to be the chosen one, they try to sell it online as I'm protecting you.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Like, well, dude, you're a representative. You're supposed to let the people decide.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And you're supposed to come back and gather these opinions. But then they say, well, I'm in the meetings. I'm in the debriefs. I'm in the, you guys don't understand. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Yeah.
I wish I could tell you, but I can't. So
Always.
to me, it's we're a republic, and I think the voice should come from the people a little bit more than it does, versus it comes from these politicians thinking that they're the ones that have all the
Yeah.
answers. Now,
Exactly.
I don't want China to fucking influence us. I don't want China to influence kids. I get that. I understand it 100%. But where does it lead? So that's, and I'm interested. Oh, and the reason I ask is you're online. Your online personality. It's what comes next. What comes after that?
Yeah.
You're trying to get the word
Completely
out.
correct.
Yeah, and TikTok might not be the best platform, but it's a platform.
Yeah.
And what
You're right.
when do we lose the next one? Do we lose B, and do we lose
Yep.
C? Just
Absolutely
curious.
correct. No, I absolutely feel that way, man. And you kind of articulated it perfectly. And honestly, that started with guns. Um, where, I mean, did it graduate from them going for guns to them trying to go? It's sad we even have to think this way. That what else could that be? Could derive from that? You know what I'm saying? What else? Whether it be freedoms, whether it be who
It's because
knows?
we have people that don't have the best interest. I'm going down a
No,
rabbit
you're
hole.
right. You're
They
right.
don't have the best interest of the American people in mind. They have the best interest of themselves and
Of
of their.
themselves.
Yeah.
Yes,
So I
exactly.
said
Yep.
this. Oh fuck, I can't remember the speech that I gave, but it's you want to elect people that want to make life better for the people. So for me to ask for reelection, just I don't have the bone in my body. God didn't give it to me, where you can look at a group of people like human beings and say, I'm the best one amongst you still. I don't have that. I can't look at another person's eyes and say I'm better than you in any sort of regards, in any sort of way. So that's where my mentality of term limits and self-imposing them comes from, because I look at a group of people and I say, surely one of you motherfuckers has to be better than me.
Right.
I believe so, because I believe in my fellow man and my fellow countrymen and women. It's like, one of you can do a better job. Come and fucking do it.
Right. Show
So
me. Yeah.
yeah, show me, show us. So that's my idea behind politics, and it drives me fucking crazy. And that's one of the main reasons I wanted to run. I just wanted to say that. Like, look at this person that's standing
Yeah.
next to me. He's asking you for another 2 years. He's essentially telling you he's still the best fucker amongst us. And he's not. He is not. By statistically, there's like one Martin Luther King and fucking, there's very few of these motherfuckers.
Yeah.
He's not the guy, I promise you.
Exactly.
And the fact that they hold on to it and they're like, no, it has to be me. It has to be me. Please vote for me again, because I'm the one.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Like, maybe my monkey brain can't comprehend that form of politics. And that's what it is. It's 10 years, 12 years, 14 years, 16 years. Like,
Yep.
even, like I said, even some of the chosen ones, like, hey man, you're getting on your 8th year, 10th
Yeah.
year. Where
Seriously.
are you going with this?
Yeah.
When does it
Exactly.
when does it go from service to a career? It was intended to be service. And now, why still you?
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
So,
I like how you put that.
yeah.
So tell me this, man. Tell me a moment for you that you went through some adversity, and tell me tell me how you got through it. Tell me what you used to pick yourself up and keep pushing, and how it worked for you.
So I was in the police academy in 2018, Corpus Christi PD. To make a very long story short, a couple of weeks from graduation, we were doing a training exercise for batons. The ASP baton.
Yep.
The guy I was with, the officer, younger dude, purple or brown belt in jiu-jitsu, cauliflower ear, all this other stuff. And I'm not a big guy, whatever, but they bring him in to toss other people around. So we're
Yep.
supposed to get tossed around, and we get wrapped up And at this point, the other instructor or the instructors are just letting us go at it. We're just fucking trying to manhandle each other. So the training value was out the window. My left leg ended up center line underneath his ass, in between his legs, right? He was trying to hip toss me forward. I was behind
Okay.
him.
Yep.
He couldn't hip toss me because we were wearing boots on the mats. We were just getting stuck. So he ended up sitting on my leg. So my toe and
Oh.
heel switch places.
Oh.
And then I had it wasn't a compound fully, but I had almost a 90-degree fucking bend, down my leg.
Oh.
So it snapped. They said it sounded like a rifle went off. Tib, fib, spiral fracture, ankle,
Oh.
all this other stuff. So I'm trying to drag myself away. And luckily the SWAT team was there doing some training that day. So within like a couple minutes, I had one of the SWAT medics just putting morphine into my hand.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, that was it. I watched my class graduate. They hit the streets, and I hung back in the hospital for 3 or 4 weeks or whatever, doing rehab, just on crutches,
Bro
just
kick platoon. Damn.
broken platoon, dude. Just being the fucking
That's the worst, bro.
being the academy bitch and just doing
Yep.
paperwork and stuff. So, anyways, one surgery with the rod down what's the big bone called? I forgot what the big bone's called in the leg.
It's not the tibula, right? Or
Tibia and fibia. I forgot which one's which. Anyways, whatever the big one is, they put a rod down it. The other one was supposed to come together. The small one never did. So workers' comp approves a second surgery. I go back to the city and I'm like, hey, I need a second surgery. Can you move my to heal by date? Because they gave me a date where I was supposed to hit the streets, or they were going to let me go regardless. They're like, no, we can't move the date. That's your date. Try to make it to the streets by then. I'm like, it's not going to happen, man. It's physically not going to fucking happen.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I just took off my little a cadet shirt right then and there, and I quit.
Damn.
That was kind of an indicator to me, like I don't want to work for this department.
Yeah, yeah.
So I ended up quitting anyways. So I'm sitting at home, and my clearance comes in for the contract that I ended up going on, and I had like a couple months to get ready. And what's the book called? Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. People shit on him or whatever. I don't give a fuck about his military. That book, man, just like kind of, okay, cool, I can do this. And little by little started strengthening myself and started going after it. And yeah, so I just realized that it was kind of a setback for me, both physically and mentally. And what happened was that's where I was going with this. I realized during that break that I was not as mentally strong as I thought I was, because it broke me, and it was just a broken leg. And I was like, fuck, I'm never gonna hit the street. It just seemed like I was never gonna, get there, and I was gonna be like that forever. And I kept getting surgeries and all this other shit. So that's one of the turning points in my life where I really had to realize that the lean back and strut mentality can't just be fake it till you make it. It has to be, I have to actually have the fucking confidence in order to get through something like that. So yeah, and now I just walk around with metal and all in my leg, and just
I love it.
Just keep going after it. So yeah, man, that's just a little
Well
bit
put.
of
I like it. So right now, man, veteran suicide. Fuck. Like, I'm telling you, I'm losing more since I've been out than, more guys than when we were pumping out,
Yeah. Sorry, give me a
Uh,
second. Keep going, man. Sorry, I gotta.
what, what do you think about that? How do you think we can combat something like that in our society or our current of 2024? How's a way we could go at that? Because I mean, they do the groups, they do the call a buddy, or I don't know. What do you even think it is? Is it the loss of purpose? Is it maybe the camaraderie, or I don't know? You tell me. What's your take on it?
My take is it's a partial failure on the part of the guys that are doing good. Failure is probably the wrong word. Life just happens at 1,000,000 miles an hour, which we all know. And it's easy to forget. And I've done that personally with guys in my platoon. I haven't talked to a lot of guys in my platoon in my unit, and we had a pretty good unit, pretty rough deployment. But life just happens, and it's almost like you forget. you forget, and not willfully, but you do, and you kind of just breeze by those thoughts and you keep going and you deal with your own shit, not realizing there's others there. Now, this is where I'll say it's not our responsibility to keep them alive. And lately I've been trying to combat the idea that I get angry when they do it. Now, most guys go down the rabbit hole of that thought,
Yeah.
regardless, especially when you're 2 bottles of what's it called? Jameson deep.
Oh yeah.
But it should be something where you're given the tools to overcome it with that lean back and strut mentality. And I don't know what the Army does or Navy, whatever the fuck that you guys do to instill confidence in yourselves, or Air Force too, you're given the tools. You just have, try to tap back into it. And I love invisible things. And what I mean by that is the shit we thought was gay, like honor and
Yep.
courage and
Yep.
fucking and duty and all that stuff. I love those words because
Visible things. I like that.
yeah, because they mean more. Like love.
Yeah.
If I say I love my wife, like that's not tangible. I can't hold it, but I'll burn down the fucking world to show it.
Facts.
You know what
Facts.
I mean? So it's, if you can find invisible things, if you're going through something like that, to hold on to, and or remember the invisible things that were instilled in you at the beginning, then you should, I don't say should, I don't want to speak in certainties, but you hopefully you can find a way to navigate through that situation. We have guys still, 3-5 is fucking notorious. We
Yep.
constantly losing dudes.
Yep.
And at first it was sadness, and then it turned into anger.
Yeah.
And now I'm trying to find the balance between both, because I don't know who to be angry. I can't be angry
exactly.
at the dead,
Right.
he's dead. I mean, I know his spirit's still wandering around somewhere, so I don't want him haunting me. But
yeah, you don't know whether to point at him or point at yourself.
yeah,
like should I? Yeah.
and it's weird. Do I think it's a failure in leadership as far as countrywide? Maybe. But the one thing I will say, no matter how much help you give us, which I'm very appreciative of all the groups, and I'm sure they've saved lives. I believe and I know that they have. No matter how much help you offer a dude, unless he wants it,
You gotta want it. You gotta want. Yeah. Yep.
it's pointless.
Absolutely.
So the talking, the 22 push-ups a day and all this other stuff, that's great. I'm glad that people are at least trying, but it has to come, and you have to talk
From inside.
to a person,
Yep.
and talk to those guys out there like, hey man, whatever it is you're going through, one, it's not an original thought. You're not the first one.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not the last one.
Yep.
So how do I get this experience to help the next person to go through it, versus giving in to the demons? And man, demons are different for everybody. It all has to do with your spiritual well-being, and it has to do with what you got going on. Money's a motherfucker. Money is
facts.
a motherfucker. It helps people and it hurts people.
Yep.
So that's my solution to it, is go back and talk to these young dudes, talk to the guys who are getting out, like, hey, financial literacy is big for me. Do you know the difference between a mutual fund and a low-cost index fund? What are you investing right now? How are you set up for the future? Because if you can remove that financial burden, and you can remove that financial anxiety, which is kind of what I call it, then you're setting that guy up a little bit better versus sending him out into the world.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's another thing. We're just talking about this last night. We're part of a unique generation. I was educated on YouTube. I don't care about saying it. Like my plaque on the wall, my diploma says YouTube, right? It says YouTube and online and other people. So what can these commands do to reach out to these gurus, these financial people, to come? Because no one wants to go to a class put on by a fucking financial officer. It's not going to. It's not going to connect.
Yep.
But bombard these kids from the moment they get in with, hey, you're set up. Or maybe it even comes at the sergeant level, the squad level. Hey, this is you got to be set up to get out. As soon as you come into the military, you should start thinking about how the fuck you're going to get out, whether it's 20 or 4 years, whichever one.
I agree.
So that's to bring it all back together. That would be, I guess, if I had a solution, would be to focus on that a little bit more and to help guys out and realize careers are important after this, you know,
Absolutely.
money. So yeah.
I like it. All right. Well, why don't you leave us with something, bro? This is heavily watched by all ranks, but we got a heavy Lance Corporal underground presence. What's something you would say to the boys, man? You know we live in a tough time. That guys aren't really pumping out like they used to. You know what happens in a peacetime Marine Corps, if you will. It gets a little dicey.
Yeah.
But what's some advice you would throw their way?
The quote from The Office: "I wish I knew I was living in the good days before they were over." That's it. That's what I would do. Besides the financial stuff that I just got off my soapbox for, yeah, that part, man, is take pictures. Take
Yeah,
pictures. You guys have
love it.
awesome videos on your phones. Record everything. Buy the challenge coin. Buy that unit shirt. Don't think that it's gay. Don't think
Yeah,
that it's dumb.
exactly.
Do it, man. Just do it. It's not so that you can be a used to for the rest of your life, because I hate people like that, but so that you can not look back and like, damn, I should have got that shirt. You know, it would have been
Yeah.
cool to just, I got
Yep.
shirts piled up, you know.
Yep.
Um, that's what I would say, man. And make yourself fucking deadly and reach out to guys that are out, reach out to accounts, reach out to vet accounts, reach out to other stuff. If you want to start a business, um, just fucking do it, you know. But that's the coolest thing that I wish I would have taken more into account back then, because I've lost so many pictures.
Dude, don't get me going. Don't get me
Yeah,
going. It drives me nuts, dude. I lost an external with so much good stuff on it. It's killing me, dude.
yeah, yeah. I've moved like 10 times and I'm still hopeful that it'll turn up. But that's what I would say,
Same
man,
here.
is live in the
Well,
moment. And if you're gonna make a
Lewis,
career out of it, don't be afraid to make a career out of it.
that's yeah, valid. I like it. Well, brother, I appreciate you coming on, giving me your time today. If we can get up again, I'd love to have another conversation with you. I'll be following you on the gram, and be sure to get me one of those Redefine Violence flags for our studio, my friend.
For sure, dude. I'll send you guys some stuff out. Anybody listening, man, just hit us up and we'll hook you up
Yeah,
with some stuff.
shout out your tags real quick, bro. So where can we find you?
Yeah, so on Instagram, it's redefine_violence. I'll send you the tags. You can throw it up on the YouTube and
Cool.
stuff. And then just redefineviolence.com. It's the only time you've ever typed that into a web browser. It's just the only ones I
Facts.
can. So, yeah, man.
All right, brother. It was a pleasure. We'll talk soon. Semper.
Thanks. Later.
Kerr.